Well, good evening. Good evening, my listeners, my followers, everyone that's pouring into my podcast, Real Talk with Lequita Taylor now. I thank God for everyone that has been watching and sharing. I ask that you share and like, and we're planning to go even higher. My team, they're really being creative on things. And I'm just excited. God is really opening doors. People are following me. I get people now, they say, "Girl, I'm watching that podcast." And so that really makes me feel good because God is opening doors. Not only podcasts, but I have Facebook and I'm on the radio every Sunday on Let Go and Let God, KLDC 1220. So when God has a purpose and you have the ear to hear, he will work it out. So I thank God for my guests. I have a lot of big guests coming. And so this evening, I have a young lady that I've known when we were growing up, way back in the Church of God in Christ days. And she's powerful. She's done a lot in this community. I wanted to have her on because she can get out there. She's more of a quiet, she's like a behind person. She wants it to happen. She wants to be right there to make it happen, but she's not a bragger. And I've watched her over the years and I see how God is using her in her ministry. So I said, what better person to all that she has done to have her on? Let her tell her testimony and so that people can see who this woman really is. So on this evening, I want to introduce my guest, Sister Marion Boston. So she's just a sweetheart, and I'm just excited about her being here. She's always doing other things, but now you with me on my show, girl. So
Right.
I want to just go into a little. Then I'm gonna let her kind of talk. She really has a really powerful testimony. You really don't know. A lot of times you see people and you say, okay, yeah, yeah, I know them, I know, but do you really know them? And a lot of times you don't know until you hear their story.
Mm.
And as I always say, can't anyone tell your story like you can? So let me go a little bit and I'm going to open up the mic for her. Marion Boston is a Colorado native who graduated from George Washington High School in Denver class of 1988. She attended Ashford University and received her bachelor's degree in business administration with concentration in organization management in 2014. She continued her education at Colorado State University by taking some of her master's of business classes and managed to complete a lifelong goal of obtaining her real estate broker's license from Colorado and currently working on her license in Missouri. Well, I'm going to kind of let it go right now and let you talk. I got some questions for you later, but welcome, my friend, my girl. We go way, way back.
Way, way back.
We do. So kind of tell a little bit more, expound on a little bit about what I've told you. Just kind of let people know who you are.
Sure. So, so me being raised in Denver has been just an amazing journey
Mhm.
because I've learned so much, just being here, you learn about just being resilient and just kind of, we've pressed through a lot,
Mhm.
of course, when I was in high school, I was a cheerleader.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that cheerleader thing always it just continues on and on and on. You're always the cheerleader for everybody. You're cheering for,
Mhm.
and so that's my kind of my
True.
testimony because I'm standing in the background and I'm just cheering for you to keep going and to be successful. And that's kind of my story. I'm like
Mhm.
I'm that cheerleader that keeps you going, that cheers on
Mhm.
whatever your goal is, and so I love that kind of, I love that in me.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's what I do.
Now, I know you're an entrepreneur. You've done a lot. Um, but I would just want to expound. You're an entrepreneur who has managed and operated her own printing and graphics business since 2017. Now, one thing I would say, no one can take how you create those designs and those programs. She's been doing programs for funeral homes for a while. And your gift, how you kind of pick it up and just create it is awesome. Even the ads, that we need to put in the souvenir books and
Mhm.
different things. You're very quick, very witty on things that you have to do especially when your back is against the wall. That's your best work, like
Yeah.
me. But you have rebranded your business.
Mhm.
The business center is a incubator for small businesses that will accommodate the rebranded printing business. Created solutions to the Synergy Center LLC. All right. She has a business consultant with a focus on building teams. I can't say that word, I ain't gonna say it. A real estate investor and realtor who helps families generate wealth and real estate business under the administration of Home Smart Realty. Now, I've heard a lot of things about you dealing with that. You really have a gift, your passion. See, I think that's what puts you on another level, your passion. So tell us a little bit, what made you get into real estate and how do you enjoy that working with different people hoping they get a house or, Lord, it didn't go through. How do you deal with that?
Whew, that is a tough spot. But my big why in real estate is kind of it's like this. When my children were young, we were homeless,
Hmm.
and we and it was right after I was divorced early on,
Mm-hmm.
with my first husband, and and we were out and we were homeless,
Mm-hmm.
and all I had was this little van, this little caravan, and my kids, and we drove around in that car. My kids do not remember this
Mm-hmm.
whole situation. They thought we was just riding around.
Having fun.
Yeah.
Enjoying it, huh?
But I was like, but we were homeless. We didn't have a place to stay. And I said, God, if there's I just want to be able to teach people that they don't have to go through
Mm-hmm.
this
Come on,
whole
come on.
homeless situation, but they can actually get in a home, because if you're renting, you're literally just this close away from homeless, because anybody, if you're renting, somebody can put you out
Mm-hmm.
at any time and then you are homeless. But if you buy your property and you own it, then guess what? Then that's your stuff. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody gonna just come and put you out. Even if you don't pay your bill, guess what? It takes some time for them to put you out.
Mm-hmm.
So so and it was just something that it really impressed upon me that if I can actually help somebody to avoid the situation that I've gone through in
Mm-hmm.
regards to being homeless, I think it would and that's the reason why I really push when
Okay.
it comes to owning a home. So when people come to me and they're looking for a home, I'm saying to them, okay, what is the reason?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing, and
Mm-hmm.
how can this help you? Because it needs to be an asset and not a liability. And so you got to look at homes as that really there to help you and not to hurt you. And some people, they don't feel like owning a home is important, but looking at it, you can actually you can pull money out or do whatever you need to do, but you have an asset in your home. And my goal is to try to teach that to the people, that you can actually you own more by owning a home. You have wealth and you're building wealth
Mm-hmm.
when you own a home. But if you don't, then you are only as big as your bank account. So
Mm-hmm. Is it really difficult now, since we're on the subject of real estate and homes? Is it really hard? I know if you don't have good credit, that's kind of like, ooh. But is it really hard for people to almost purchase a home now?
no, right now we're in a buyer's market,
Okay.
and so it's a good time to buy because the prices are coming down, and sellers are more apt to give a little bit,
Okay. Okay.
and so it's a really good time for us to purchase a home. We have a lot of for first time home buyers. Actually, I have a grant. That would you don't have to pay it back. That kind of money. It'll
Okay.
get you
Okay.
in there, and they can be stacked so that like different types of grants that they have out there. You can have more than one and pay a lot, pay almost nothing to get into your property. It's a good time to buy, especially if you're a first time home buyer.
Mm-hmm.
But buyers that are ready to purchase with money, then it's a really great time because, like I said, it's a buyer's market and we can really make some deals out there.
Boy, let me pull my hat off. Oh, wait, before I go any further, I didn't know she was going to wear a hat, but y'all know I like my hats. And I had a baseball hat, but this was at work. I said, let me wear it to match it. And
Yeah.
I look good. Let's see, you represent too, girl. Go on there. You look cute now. So I got to be comfortable now. Let me ready to talk. So you have 3 children.
Yep.
Um, my baby's Ashley. She's one of my producers.
Yeah.
And we have Paul as my baby. I've known him forever.
Paul's my baby.
But we have a good team.
Yeah.
And I thank God Ashley is my baby, and you have 7 grandsons. That little one is so cute to me. They are all added source of joy and love in your life. When you look back, you really probably couldn't have made it without your babies, huh?
No, I would not have made it. I would not have been here if it wasn't for them, because I had gotten to a place of so much distress just through life, through life's challenges. At one point I was suicidal, and it was a bad situation because of going through the divorces and going through the all of the different life issues. Yeah, and it became hard for me because I was a single mom doing everything, and everything I could try to figure out to do. I tried, and it was hard, but when I looked into their faces, I realized, okay, I got to keep living because they got to keep living. And then my prayer for them was that they would be instrumental in society somehow, some way they would be that. And so I prayed every single day. My kids used to talk about me bad because I would walk into their rooms speaking in tongues. I'm, no, I'm praying. I'm like, don't know. I heard transit says, okay. I'm laying hands on them. I'm like, y'all gonna be somebody. And you know what? My babies they have been so amazing in their growth. They have overcome so many things, yet and still they are still just solid citizens. They do what they're supposed to do, and they're good people, even when everybody, especially at my home church. I ain't gonna say no names, but when my church, when they would grow up, they would always say, "Oh, your kids is bad." I said, "Don't call my kids bad." That was my one of my pet peeves. 'Cause I was like, "You speaking stuff over my kids that I don't speak over them. So don't do that." And so I would definitely I tell anybody, don't ever speak that over your children. That because then they will perform just how you put over them, what you put over them. And so I literally have just I spoke over them good things, and even when they were acting up, I would tell them, "Listen," I said, "You might have done something wrong." I said, "But you're not wrong. You are loved."
Okay.
And you know what I'm saying? You are not what you did. And that's what I think a lot of times in the church, that's one of our problems, is we always make people, this is what you did, so this is who you are. And we have to realize, if I look at my children, I'd say, you know what? You are not what you did, but you're better than that. And that helped them to grow. That helped them to become who they are, And it's been a blessing, It's been a real
Man.
blessing.
So, I was it's just so much that what you have done. I want to okay, now you have shown enough of work history. Some people they probably worked on 2 jobs and holding on. They done had it for 25. And some work one job and make 10 jobs and get fired, be 30 minutes, 30 days. Oh, gotta go. So with all that you have been through, now your first job experience was what? How old were you?
Yeah,
When you
I
got your
was
first job.
I was 16 when I worked at McDonald's when I was 16.
Okay. Okay.
And I was a cheerleader too at that time, so I was juggling,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I was juggling. I did that.
Okay.
I worked, 'cause, that's what we did when we were kids. We worked,
Mm-hmm.
Then, after graduation, I started working in the retail area,
Okay.
and trying to go to school and trying to learn, but what happened was I actually, on my graduation day, I had my daughter, Ashley. She was born on graduation day. I said, "This don't make sense." That's what I said.
Oh my
It
goodness.
was a great graduation present. as I look back. At that time, it was not a good present, but but it was a great, great present. And I, so I had to go straight to work. It wasn't a situation where I could just like let me go hang out and figure out what school. No, I had to go to work, and so I went to work, and then shortly after that, I got married. And that was a disaster because I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for marriage. Didn't even know who I was. How was I gonna deal with a whole nother man? And so yeah, so that didn't last very long. But it was a blessing because my children were born,
Okay.
and it was such a blessing. My sons are, they're old now. All of my kids are old. Um, they're all old. I tell them all the time. I say, y'all older than me. I don't know how y'all did it, but that's what happens. But they were, but yeah, through that time, a period in time, I worked in different jobs to try to improve my skills. And as I worked, I ended up working at FedEx. FedEx was one of the main places that I worked at, FedEx office. And I learned how to do design, and I learned how to print. And I was like, "Oh, I can do this. Print and design, I can do this." And so we used to work for hours and hours, and I worked the midnight shift because then a lot of people didn't come in, so I had a lot more time to play.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
A lot more time to play on the machines and all that stuff. So I did that. And that's where I got learned the skill was on the job. I learned the skill on the job. Um and um and I also worked for Ready to Succeed. It was one of the jobs that I worked, and it was in the school, within the school district. And I ran a toy lending library and things like that. And one of the things that just stuck with me, and has stuck with me throughout my life, was one of the managers came to me, and I was explaining to her all the things that we needed. I was like, I need more toys, and I need this, and I need that. I'm just explaining all this stuff that I need. And she turned to me. It just changed my life. It changed my life because she turned to me and she looked at me straight dead in the face, and she said, "Marion, don't nobody owe you nothing, and they're not gonna just give you things." And she turned around and walked away, and I had to decide. I had to decide whether
Come on.
am I gonna be offended by this, or is this gonna change my life? And it changed my life because what ended up happening from that point is that I said, "Let me go get what belongs to me."
Okay.
And so I picked myself up, went to school. I I finished school, because sometimes you go to school but you don't finish. But I finished. I got in there and I did it straight through. Didn't stop. Didn't do no whole lot of hoopla. Just finished it, because I wanted to learn. I wanted to know. I wanted to better myself. And so I become a lifelong learner because of that. Because of that conversation. That conversation changed my life. She probably never ever knew that, but she literally changed my life through that conversation.
Is she still around? Do you ever see her or talk to her?
Nope.
Man, sometimes you have that person just for that
Just
day or that season or a week,
Yep.
and then they're gone. But yet the word, the seed that was dropped into your spirit
It's
is
changed.
where you are now.
That's right.
Boy, that's awesome. Now, I want to go back when you were talking about. I always tell people never say never. You don't know how you'll be in a place. People say, I would never commit suicide. I would never take my life. Us growing up in Church of God in Christ, that was unheard of.
True.
And every time you turn around, somebody's taking their life. The devil's so busy. But in that point where you just wanted, I've had it, I'm Lord Jesus, I'm ready to give up. And God fixed your mind, He healed your mind. But what made you say, I don't want to die. I want to do this. God help me. What made you snap out of that depression where I'm giving up? I've had it. What made you come out of that to say, I'm going to do this?
It really was my kids. My kids, they saved me. I always say that they saved my life.
Yeah.
They literally saved my life because I was ready to give up, and I just saw that they were more important to me than even my own life. Yeah, they were important to me.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I was saved at the time. I was saved, but my life was still in turmoil. I had some turmoil going on because I had, the divorce, and all of that divorce really hurt me,
Okay.
pretty bad. But but I couldn't show up. I felt like I could not show up like that
Mm-hmm.
for my kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I said, what would they think? What would they,
Mm-hmm.
how would they survive? What is their mindset? How would that affect them? That was the turning point for me. It was a turning point where I could say, I'm gonna make it for them. That was the turning point for me.
Mm. You earned your bachelor's degree in business administration, continued master's level coursework, and became a licensed Colorado real estate broker, all while building businesses, not just business. How did your educational journey prepare you to launch? This is where we're going. She's now started a gospel magazine. Beautiful, the pictures. This is what you do. You're a perfectionist. And it's very, matter of fact, let me show you. See it out. You need to check it out. This is her new magazine.
Yeah.
It's a gospel magazine that tells different things. It lets people know about what people are doing and everything. She's taking it to another level. So congratulations on this. You'll see it in different places, and it's believe, inspire belief,
Yeah.
empower action, elevate lives.
Yes.
Empowerment magazine.
Yeah.
Believe. God is good.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of you. I mean, you've worked for enough, you did enough program and everything for everybody else, and then found you to create your own. So when I think about that, well, you have just it's just amazing. It's amazing. But with you being a Colorado native, again, graduated in 1988. Oh, Lord, I had Micah 1980. Jesus. How did growing up in Denver shape your sense of identity? And how does that lived experience influence the voices and stories you choose to amplify through your Believe, your new magazine?
Yeah.
Believe Empowerment Magazine.
Yeah.
How does that take you another level?
Yeah. I believe it's been inspiring to me.
Mhm.
And living living in Colorado just helps me to see so much more, because there's so much more here
Mhm.
that people
Mhm.
need to see. We need to see
Mhm.
the truth of what's going on,
Mhm.
especially in church.
Mhm.
You know, I've been in church. I can say all my life. Look, all my life.
Telling your dad's a preacher, but I'm telling them.
Listen. So yeah, my dad was he was a deacon,
Mhm.
and he was the superintendent of Sunday school in the Church of God in Christ, Northeastern District. He was very intricate, in the ministry. My uncle was a pastor,
That's right.
and then
Elder Collins. That's your. I always said, boy, y'all, he's so clean. He loves you. You love him. Yeah, they're uncles, don't you?
yeah.
Yeah, okay. They all look alike. They all short.
They all
And I mean, them Collins boy, our mommy was very close. Mother was very close to your uncle. They did a lot in the church ministry, over the years. So it was.
I loved him.
So, right here where it says you earned a master's degree, business administration, continued to master's level, coursework, and became a licensed Colorado real estate broker. We already did that. I just keep loving going over that because it's just powerful. When you hear somebody's story, that's why it's a real people, real talk. You don't know what their story was. Be proud of this because you've taken it another level. Even the pictures and what you're putting in the wording, and you put my ad in there about podcasts, Real Talk with Lequita Taylor. And when I look at it, it makes it like, whoa, this is one of these sharp magazines. And I'm really proud of you. So you successfully run a printing and graphics business since 2017. As I spoke earlier, you have did a lot of work for funeral homes, programs, churches. Matter of fact, I don't think people know that you're the one for Syl Morgan Smith, her Academy Award program that she does. That's you. That's awesome.
That's beautiful.
And it's very, very I mean, it's elegant. It's just class act. You run a printing and graphics business since 2017 and recently expanded your vision through the Synergy Center. Where did Believe Empowerment magazine enter that elevation, and why did you feel media was a necessary tool for empowerment, leadership, and economic growth?
Okay. See, so that's the focus of I believe it's empowerment, leadership, and economic growth in our community. Because what the big deal is that what I always say is this a faith forward move.
Okay.
So the faith forward piece is that we live faith out loud. We literally are living it out loud instead of us being that quiet person in the corner. Literally, I believe is about entrepreneurship. So if you have businesses, we are in the marketplace. We still show our faith. We're still leaders in that community. We're still people who show up, and our faith it speaks out loud. Even though we might not never say, "Hey, Jesus is Lord" in the place, but the bottom line is that the way we walk and the way we operate and the way we interact with others, it is a way for our faith to speak out loud, and we're able to then grab others that don't know God. You know what I'm saying?
Come on.
We can pray with them, we can encourage them and build them up. All of that right in our like kind of space, because we make that space. But what happens is a lot of the times these types of things, like the magazine, if the magazine is there, it kind of allows people to literally read testimonies. It interacts with the people, and that's what the goal is for the magazine, is to interact with other people.
Okay.
And not just sit there and you're able to read it, but it's actually an interaction tool, so that basically you can read it. It allows you to put in questions, like ask questions of people. It allows you to actually just kind of give your testimony, tell about who you are, tell about what you've done. Those are the things that magazine does, and so I wanted to kind of be able to speak to people, and for people to speak to it, media that is alive. And that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for people to grab a hold to it, so that because it's alive. It's not just a magazine that you pick up and you read it, but it's alive. It's something that actually teaches. It's something that you can get information from, to grow, to mature, because we have a lot of people that are not going to church anymore. They're just not going to church. And that's the bottom line. And it could be a lot of different reasons. I can tell you a lot of reasons why I wouldn't go to church. But I love the church, so that's why I go. But there's a lot of reasons why people don't go to church. And one of the things is, is that we can be judgmental. We can because we forget where God brought us from.
Exactly.
We don't forgot. We don't forgot that we was out there doing stupid stuff too. You know what I'm saying? One day, but if we can all realize that because God brought you out, that He can bring somebody else out.
Come on.
And you can be the instrument that helps them come out, instead of being that instrument that pushes them away.
Exactly.
That's what this is about. That's what it's about.
Speaking on magazines, Randy's was more of a newspaper. Randy McGowan. Went to school with CU Boulder and all that, and his mother devoted son, mother, and father. And I think
Absolutely.
after his mother passed, it just kind of changed his life. You can have some things come into your life where it's like it's not the same anymore.
Yeah.
It's either gonna make you or break. It's gonna take you higher, bring you lower. And when God is on your side, and He will guide you. Randy did a lot. I said a lot of people they missed that body of Christ.
Yes.
It was a newspaper, but I thank God that we still have the different magazines, the Urban Spectrum, the Weekly News, and
Yep.
Jeff's Paper. There's still people. But I think this is on a whole nother level of what I've read and what I've seen. So I just wish luck on everyone. But
Yes.
Randy was a part of this community for
Yes.
years. And so just want to say wish him well, whatever his endeavor. And heard he's teaching school somewhere, but he's hanging.
Yeah.
He's hanging.
Well, we're building on it.
Yeah.
We're building on what he started because we do appreciate what Randy's done.
Yeah.
Randy's done a lot, and I worked for Randy for a little while.
Okay.
Towards the end, but I appreciate everything that he's poured into this place.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm
He's been
grateful.
around. He's been around.
Yeah.
So, I want to go here and then I'll come back to what we're talking about. When you were saying you were speaking earlier, people don't know what you've been through in health issues.
Hmm.
A lot of people probably didn't even think they'd be here now. When you look back over your life and say, God, you've been good. You've been good to me. I could have been dead. But there's a test to have a testimony.
Mm-hmm.
You go through to come out. Tell about what you had mentioned to me. I forgot about that, but you almost died. Tell your testimony. Let people hear a little bit, and then we'll go on a little bit further.
It's so much. I remember it was back in 2000, 2006. Yep, '06. And I remember one day I had to preach that Sunday. It was a Sunday morning. I had to preach, and I preached. I remember that sermon so well. It was so crazy.
What was it?
It was talking about friendly fire.
Okay. 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 Okay.
And so we talked about it. And after that, after I preached, I sat down and I had this really sharp pain in my side, sharp pain. So I got up and I, just in a lot of pain. I had to pick up my husband from the airport. So I picked him up, brought him, and he looked at me and he said, "Your eyes are yellow." And I was like, "I'm jaundice?" In my mind, I'm thinking, "I'm jaundice? What?" Take me to the hospital. And so we went straight to the hospital from there. And when we got to the hospital, the Lord spoke to me and He said, "You're coming out."
Oh.
That's all I heard. I heard, "You're coming out." And I said, "Oh, okay."
But you
I
are.
don't know what that means, but okay.
Okay.
I just knew I was in pain and I was just like, "Woof, this is not feeling good." So I got to the hospital and then they ran a lot of tests on me and they told me that my liver had just shut down. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do any of that stuff. I don't do none of that. But my liver just stopped working. And when it stopped working, I I was like, and they asked me every single day. I was in there for over a month in the hospital. And they asked me every single day, um, "Do you smoke? Do you drink?" And I said, "Now listen, we done answered this question a lot of times, but no, I do not."
I can imagine. How is this happening?
What is going on? And they took all the tests that they could, and everything came back normal. Everything came back normal, but your liver shut down. So the doctor walks into to my room, and he tells me, "If we can't get your liver started back up, you'll be dead in a month." He said, "Because your body can't filter out what it needs to filter out. You'll be dead." Um, and so they put me on, of course, some steroids. And steroids is like the worst drug that anybody could ever take.
I heard that. Why is that? I think one time I had the flu in my lungs, so I had to take that to kind of inflate it or whatever. But
Yeah.
I've heard it is. They heard it's the worst.
It helps with inflammation. And so it does. For short term, it works fine, but I was on it for over a year.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
I was on it for over a year at a high concentration. It was really, really high, and I blew up to 300 pounds
Because of your liver.
because of my liver.
Man.
300 pounds, and I was like, "This is not good." And yeah, and not only that, that steroids messes with your mind too. So you be thinking you're doing something and you doing something else. It's really hard.
How I see people swell up. I remember Lori Washington. I know she didn't mind. She had a testimony. On them steroids for a long time. She was working somewhere in the building had asbestos in it and just affected her lung. And she didn't realize it, but God. And so when I looked at her, she was so swollen. She's working for me. And I was on oxygen and everything, but God. And so how when you're swole up like that from the steroids, how does that fluid come off? What do you have to do? Because I see people that are just so big.
Yeah,
How do you have to do that to bring it down?
you got to get off of that medicine.
Man.
You got to get off of it because it makes you eat all of it. It makes you do all kinds of stuff. That's a big deal. It makes you eat. And I'm telling you, you be thinking, okay, when is this gonna be over? But I did. I went through it with my doctor. I was like, I gotta get off of this. This is just terrible. Um, I used to have 20/20 vision. My vision was better than 20/20 until I got on the steroids, and the steroids messed up my eyes, and it blew me up to 300 pounds. And so, yeah, that was a big issue, because then once to deflate, how you deflate is you get off of the steroids for one, and the other thing is that you get that you just have to go get a whole another regimen, you know what I'm saying? And I tried that. So in '07, I was trying to lose weight, lose weight. '08 came, still same deal. '09, I was like, okay, we gonna make a change here. So '09 came and I was like, I'm gonna have this gastric bypass surgery and it's gonna get it off. So I did that. I had the gastric bypass surgery, and lost about 140 pounds. I think
Okay.
it was 140. It was a big, big difference. Brought me back down to a good size
Okay.
that I can kind of maintain. So I maintain, for the most part, I maintain that weight still.
That's good. People are trying to figure out something. Ooh, Lord, is she sick? Lord, what is she taking after all them shots? Honey, I said, I'm fluffy. I ain't wearing that shit. It is what it is. And I had thought about doing some of those shots, just a little bit. Just give me a good one. Right. But I said, when I went through that blood clot,
Mm.
and I could have died. That thing had been in me for a week, killed some of my lungs. And when I was in Aurora Medical, I was at the place, they took me there. Aurora Medical has specialists. I didn't know when you get sick, a lot of times the ambulance, they're like a taxi cab. They'll take you to the hospital that is there for carrying the symptoms that you have. Aurora Medical has a blood clot specialist.
Oh, okay.
And so I was there and this that, and other, but I was in there for like 4 days. But 3 days, I was taking the shot twice in my stomach from fighting the blood clot. And I've had people that's in the hospital. When you look back over your life, and I was thinking about it, had that, but I just got in the hospital. They put me there, just had the clot. The clot. I could have another clot. Could have broke. It was trying to break. It had trying to break away. It hadn't. They were giving me the shots, but that thing could have got me again and went to my heart.
Right.
So when you think about that, so when I talk about them shots, honey, some things will traumatize you. That was one of them shots sticking me in my belly. And then I was girding in, and real talk now, for real now. They shot me in my stomach. Girl, I was black as black cherry pie now.
Oh, wow.
I said, now what's the difference? They shoot you in your belly. These people getting these shots. I don't know how you looking when you get through. But you got to be bruised in your belly. And you trying to prove I'm going to be cute. Woo, girl, I'm little, look at here, I'm be cute now. And then you get through shit, y'all thought you look like Blackberry Cobbler now. But you trying to be cute. But said, honey, I wasn't doing it. And I'd be fluffy, and now I'm on a thing. I'm trying to drink more water.
That's right.
And stuff. So God is good. But I be thinking, okay, I said, I know. Because I was broke. Ooh, Lord, I look like a black cobbler in my belly. Child, please. Mm-mm. I'll be fluffy. I don't know shot. It'll come down eventually. Y'all see me now. You can't say Lequita. And then I got to tell you this. It ain't funny, but it is. I asked my doctor, I said, now, what do you recommend about people all getting all these shots and stuff? They said, well, it's all right. I really don't, because one of the after effects, uh-oh, one of the after effects, your eyes bulge. Well, people don't know that.
Really?
Oh, you go. When I got to put my glass off side out, me and Mary go, wait back. I got to be real today. It is what it is. Girl, she told me about, oh, yeah, you can do that. You have different symptoms. Now, there's always a side effect on anything.
Right.
And she said, well, you can do it, but I really don't recommend. But they're finding that people's eyes bulge. Now, you trying to be cute. Now, if you health reasons or whatever, but a lot of people go, oh, no, I'm going to lose me some weight, girl. Let me get some of those shots, put them in the refrigerator and doing what I need to. And you going on, you trying to be cute and all that stuff, and then you already got little eyes, all of a sudden they looking bucks.
That's a mess.
They looking buck. No, I don't need it.
No.
And a lot of people, y'all be careful, everybody. Oh, that's the easiest way. Okay. And then when you stop and then you don't like it no more, then you go to eating again, you get bigger than before. I've heard all of it. I just look and watch. I said, the devil is a lie. I'll be fluffy or I'll be skinny because I don't stop eating vegetables and crackers and salads.
Right.
So that kind of stuff, there's just so much. But for you, when I forgot about that story, did they ever find out how were you attacked in your liver? You never drank or anything. What was the diagnosis from that?
No, they said it was autoimmune. It was an autoimmune situation with my liver. So that means my body just turned on itself. That's what they said. I said, that is a spirit. That's it. Sound like a spirit to me.
The eating demon.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord, I bind it in the name of Jesus, girl. Every time you think of you get 5 more pounds. That's swelling now. You try to hold on till you get better. The shots make you swell like, all right, what?
So we ain't doing it.
Oh, no. Well, those that are doing it, God bless you. Some of y'all look good. I mean, ooh, look at here.
Yeah.
But see, I want to lose, and I be like skinny mini, and I don't have to get rid of all my clothes. That will match how I mean, fluffy. Let do what I do. But those that are doing it, handle it, are the best to you.
They can.
I wish you well, but not me. I got enough from the blood clot shots, looking like a black cobbler. Okay.
I love it.
All right, so we'll move on. You know me now. You know Bria. You come on my show, be ready for real talk with Lequita Taylor. Now, right here where it says faith, business, and wealth building, you're good at that. This is your gift. As a business consultant, realtor, and real estate investor, you help families build generational wealth. People thought they never could buy a house.
Yeah.
Trust in God, and then you're fair. And when you work with someone that knows God, it puts on another level, because they're not just gonna do anything. Because we know if you're serving God, you are accountable,
Right,
for what you do. You dog somebody, that old saying, you gonna reap, and it's gonna be bigger than probably what you even thought. So you have to be right by people so that God can bless you.
Yeah.
So how does Believe Empowerment Magazine bridge faith? I know you're faith believer like I am. Entrepreneurship and practical strategy. And what conversations are you intentionally crediting that aren't happening elsewhere? What are you doing to bring the word to make them believe in what you're saying, believe in my magazine, believe that God is real? How do you do that?
So I have to kind of take you back because a few I just came back about about a year ago, a little over a year, I've been back to Denver, because I left for a little while to get a break.
Mm-hmm.
And and when I left and I came back, I was going through all of my stuff, just kind of digging through stuff. And I ran across a magazine that I created back 25,
Mm-hmm.
30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I created this magazine and I was thinking to myself, "Oh, this is going to be awesome," right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I looked at it. I went through it and I looked at it. This has just been a year ago. I looked at it and I was like, "Man, that was a good run." We never published it. We just kind of put it together. And so I put it together and then I put it aside. Um and it was like that was my masterpiece. It was a masterpiece, but it had never been, published.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it had everything in it. It was just it was all about music. It was about all of the things we as people of God just really need. And it was like I literally pray. I pray and I ask God, God, what do the people need to know this time around? Because this magazine is coming out every month. But it's like, what do the people need to know right now? What is the focus on
Mm-hmm.
what I need to focus on and how do I need to focus on? So prayer is the base.
Mm-hmm.
Prayer is the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that prayer, now it's like, God, help me to now put together who needs to be speaking. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not always me, that needs to
Mm-hmm.
speak, but somebody needs to speak to every person that's out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always I never look at myself as this is the end all and I'm gonna be
Mm-hmm.
speaking always, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Look, that ain't me. I'm always focused on what's best for the people, and so my prayers are always, God, what are you saying to the people?
Mm-hmm.
That's the prayer. The prayer is, what are you saying? And what do you want us to know? And how do you want us to move? And that's why that's in the magazine. It is that's basically what you'll see is what God wants to say, how He wants to say it, how He wants us to
Mm-hmm.
move,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the goal. That's the goal of the part of the magazine. The goal is, like I said, being interactive and allowing people to be to connect to it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a big undertaking right now. We definitely need supporters. We definitely need subscribers. We need money. Oh, I'll just be real. We need money to help to pull it together to make it happen. But as I was digging in my all of my stuff and when I pulled out that magazine, it was called I Worship, was what it was called.
Okay. Okay.
It was called I Worship. And when I pulled it out, God showed me, He said, "That's your masterpiece."
Hmm.
And I said, "Wow, God," and I sat there and I realized that sometimes we see things differently, where God gives us an idea,
Mm-hmm.
He gives us something
Mm-hmm.
and He says, "Do this." Like He did with your podcast,
Mm-hmm.
"Do this." And you kind of sit on it and you kind of like, yeah, maybe I'll get to it when I get to it. Maybe it'll happen when it happens.
Mm-hmm.
And God's saying, do it. This is your time. This is your season to do this. And by me digging back in there, finding that magazine, it gave me the courage and the faith to do, I believe. Because
Mm-hmm.
I believe really it encompasses everything that was in I Worship. However, it's more interactive and it's more of today, what is going on today in this season. Because back 25 years ago, it was a little different
Mm-hmm.
than what
Mm-hmm.
we were
Mm-hmm.
dealing with now. So yeah, it's an accomplishment and it's something, but like I said, each one of us have a
Mm-hmm.
masterpiece.
Yep. Yep.
Every single one of us have a masterpiece. Um, I just told my family this week, we had a loss in our family, and I told them, I said, your lives are masterpieces. Your life is a masterpiece. You are a masterpiece, and only you have the story, you know? And that's why I was encouraging them to write their own obituaries and all that kind of stuff. But the key thing is that when you have when your life, when you have a masterpiece, when you are going out there and you're working, you might be working for somebody else, but you yourself, you have something to bring to the table that is a masterpiece that nobody else can do, that nobody else can duplicate. You have to be that person. And that's what I believe is for me. Yeah, it's like, this is the masterpiece that I need to give to people. It's the masterpiece because it brings Jesus alive in somebody's life. And it allows God to be revealed so that people can be healed, that people can be set free, people can be delivered through this. And so it's the masterpiece. That's what it is.
I like that.
Yeah.
I have one more question. We're gonna wind down. They're not giving me the code yet, so we must be doing good. Cause any other time, my baby always give me. He got this code to get on my nerves, but I follow him.
Right.
The last thing: legacy, family, and purpose.
Yes.
Your mother,
Yeah.
a grandmother to 7 grandsons,
Yes.
and someone who clearly leads with heart. How does your family influence your purpose? And what kind of legacy, personally and professionally, do you hope your children and grandchildren will see in the life you're building?
You
How do you
know,
want to answer that?
my babies they're everything to me.
I know, I know,
It's like my children,
I know.
them
Them
and
grandkids.
them and I prayed. I said, God, where is my granddaughter? I don't have no granddaughter. I got all boys.
Yeah.
And I love them. I enjoy each one of them, every single one of them. I love my babies. And I appreciate them, and I appreciate my children and their spouses. Because it's like I just grew. You know what I'm saying? I had the three, and then they brought three. And then now they're bringing the other seven. Together.
A blessing.
And it's been a blessing. It's been a true blessing. Most people look at me and they say, "I didn't know you had you. How old are you?" That's something I always ask me. Now I'm like, listen, I'm a young grandma,
Okay.
but and I always tell them that I'm 35 and counting. But but what it is that legacy wide, I really want my children to be able to have wealth.
Come on, come on,
Wealth is
come on.
wealth is important to me for them because it's not about money, you know. And that's why I think people get it all twisted up. I remember speaking to my dad, and he said, being rich is, you can't be rich. I said, let's rephrase it. Because he always talks about, the man with, that the rich man that Jesus said, hey, give all your stuff and follow me. He talks about that all the time, and I tell him, you don't understand wealth. That's what I said. When you have wealth is much more than money. It's much more than having dollars in the bank, but it's actually, hey, it's knowing how to put those dollars in the bank.
Come on.
One, that's one. But not only that, it's also knowing that your family is secure. It's knowing that your health is well.
Come on, come
It's
on.
no, this is wealth. Wealth is bigger than that. No, and see, so that's why I say, even with buying a house, it's that helps you secure the things that you need to secure, so that you can pass it on to your children and your children's children, and they can have something to build on. I look at I do a lot of when I do a lot of research. I research a lot of wealthy people, because my thing is like, if they can do it, I can do it too.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm building on what they've already started. They've already started this thing, and they're living from it, and their children are living off of it. You're looking at, Henry Ford, and the Ford family is rich because of
Exactly.
him.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I mean, you look at different people that have actually done so much more, and so you're learning from what they placed in front of what
Mhm.
they've done. And so I know, even after reading a lot of the books that have that I've read,
Mhm.
um the number one thing that all of them have in common is faith.
Mhm. Mhm.
They just believe.
Mhm.
I implanted that in my children. You have to believe.
You do.
That's number one. I said, you have to believe no matter what, you see, no matter what you envision, no matter what has transpired in the past. Guess what? Believe.
Mhm.
Believe God. Believe in yourself.
Come on.
You have to believe. And those are that is like the biggest thing. That's why I believe is so important to me. I believe Empowerment Magazine, we're empowering people to believe. We're empowering. So
Mhm.
so the one thing is that if you have faith, you can pretty much accomplish everything
And
that is in your mind. If you can see it, you can do it.
mhm. Me and you have talked about how we was at the end of the cliff, and I don't mean, physically. People have told me, "Oh, Lord, she was standing on the cliff about to die." That's not what I'm saying. But sometimes you're in a situation. People be saying I don't be trying to be funny, girl. I'm just real. But you can be. Have you ever been where you just like, Lord, I'm at the 12th hour. If you don't move, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And he always comes through. You be like, oh my God, I'm been in the funeral business, and it's just like,
Especially
whoa. And so he is really,
he shows
when
up.
you walk by faith and not by sight, faith is the little thing of a mustard seed. And if you have that, that's carried me through so long.
Every
And so it has. So well, it's about time I've got my code. Uh, but I just, Mary, just thank you. You've been just a phenomenal woman.
Thank you.
I wanted you on here. People had to know you. They see you, you be, hey, but you working, you thinking, but to see that you just down to earth as me and a whole lot of other people. People look at us sometime and judge us, but it's all right. I've learned long as I got Jesus, I don't worry about what
Amen.
nobody else. So in my closing, is there anything that you would like to say to young women
Oh.
that are trying to come up?
Mm-hmm.
Young women that had dreams and at first they thought they couldn't happen. But seeing women and men where you didn't think you could make it, but look at you now. So would you like to leave the last words before we get off, just to speak to people that are trying to climb that dream?
Yeah. That the dream I told my son is a coach for one of them. He's a coach for a college.
Mhm.
And he called me one day and said, "Mom, nobody's hiring me. I don't know what to do."
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
And I told him one thing. I said, "God told me that your name is in the wind."
Mhm.
I said, and that just simply means somebody's talking about
Mhm.
you.
Mhm.
I said, I said, don't give up on your dream. Never give up on the thing that God places in you,
Mhm.
because He placed it in you to fulfill it.
Exactly.
Not for you just to be feeling like, oh, I got to do this. No, but He said, you're going to
Mhm.
fulfill what's in you.
Mhm.
And so stay faithful to the dream. Stay faithful to what
Mhm.
God has placed
Mhm.
in
You're
you.
right. Come on.
Because even with you in the funeral home and all the things that you do, stay faithful to that, because God is all he's preparing a way for you in everything that you do. Everything that you do. I heard what you said And I want to encourage others, to believe God and pray. I remember just just being in business, just doing business. And this is in every business that I've been involved in. People will come to me and they'll ask me, they'll say, hey, we're in trouble. We're in financial trouble. And I've been in a lot of situations
Helping, yeah,
with people. And I told them, I said, I'm gonna do what I do, and I pray. And my prayer is, God, you know exactly where we are.
Yeah.
And you know exactly what we need. And so, God, you said that you would supply the need. So supply the need, God. And I would pray that prayer, and within 24 hours, that thing will turn around. Because God, He knows what you need. He knows what you have need of. And He's faithful and just to put, He's there. He's gonna do it. But the bottom line is you have to believe and you have to remember that God, I'm putting God on the line here. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
God, you put me in this position.
Exactly.
I didn't put me here by myself,
Exactly.
You put me here to be a light to somebody. So sustain me,
Mm-hmm.
keep me, maintain things. And He does it every single time. I remember so many times me and Ashley being in our business little space, and I'd be like, God, what we gonna do? God, we don't have no money coming in this week, And I would pray the prayer, and then all of a sudden, stuff would just start flowing in like crazy. And so I was like, well, that's how He performs. He might not send you a dollar bill in the mail, but He'll send you the work. He'll send you the people.
Come on, girl.
He'll send you the things
That's what I'm saying.
that you need. Because that's
saying.
that's how He supplies the need. But you gotta be faithful over what He gives you
Come on.
to perform it exactly how He would have you perform it. So with all your heart, give what you have, and God'll bless it.
We'll say if you be faithful over a few things, He'll make you ruler
over much.
over many.
Yes, He
Well,
will.
this has been a wonderful evening. I've enjoyed you, and thank you for being my guest. And it was really just hearing your story, and people can now see that she's really down to earth. You're touchable. You're reachable. People, they sometimes judge not knowing, I'm reachable for real. But God is good. So thank you for being with me this evening with Real Talk with Lequita Taylor now. So you all, thank you. We ask that you subscribe, share, um, get on. What's the other one? Share, subscribe, and
Like.
get like, child, like, honey. LIKE now. Come on and like now. Y'all share. Cause we just growing. Let us keep going. Let us keep going. So we love you now. Good night. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.